And now, live from Isolation Station in Burbank, California, it's The Plague, week 60 of the Allison Rosen is Your New Best Friend show. Tonight, Allison welcomes her guest. He's a comedian who would really like you to keep the music down and please stop having sex in the alley behind his house. It's David Huntsberger. And she's a writer and producer who is totally fine with you not getting your vaccinations, just as long as you're fine with being shot from a cannon in outer space. It's Wendy Molyneux. Tone Zone is here to let Melinda Gates know that he's not just young and single, but he also has his own charitable foundation, the Tony Thaxton Institute for Tapping That Ass. I'm her husband Daniel, saying hop on board the love bus and say hello to your new best friend, Allison Rosen.
Allison Rosen. Allison Rosen is your new best friend. Allison, with her the good times never end. Allison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Allison, Allison's your new best friend.
Hello, my little pandowdies. Welcome to another exciting episode of Allison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. That particular carbohydrate was sent in on Patreon. By Tammy H. And it is a deep dish apple baked item, which you may know from that song, Creole something, jam something, and apple pandowdy makes my eyes light up and my stomach say howdy. Which was the theme song to that Tig Notaro show that one of our guests, who you're going to meet in just a moment, was actually a guest on. I'm really taking a tangent. Did I say that Tammy H sent it in? Because I wanted to on Patreon. And also, this is the word that she's been using for the pandemic, and I think that is fun. Anyway, very exciting show today. I would like to say hello and welcome to all of my guests. David Huntsberger, the one I mentioned before, who was on One Mississippi with that theme song. Hello.
Oh, hello. I did not put that together. I liked that song. I thought it was Jambalaya from Hank Williams.
You know, sometimes I'm wrong about things.
Well, maybe they switched it. Maybe they just used that in the first. I don't remember. I feel like at one point that was. Maybe that was just
on the bayou, right?
Yeah. Son of a gun, gonna have big fun on the bayou.
Yeah, a Creole pie and wait, isn't Apple Pandowdy a lyric in that song?
That song loses me, even though it's short. I only know the Creole pie and a crawfish pie filet gumbo.
Oh, I think that I have confused them.
I might be. I don't know. I don't know the lyrics well enough to say that you are inaccurate. Apologies.
I might be. Someone who loves this song possibly Tammy H is yelling at her phone right now. I think that I'm wrong about this song. And Tony, who I have not yet introduced, I'm going to need you to look it up.
I'm already on it.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sorry. What was the word? It's pandowdy.
Pandowdy.
Is that what I'm looking for?
Yeah.
I don't.
Two separate words. Pandowdy.
No, it's one word, like pandowdy.
One word.
Yeah, pandowdy, and it makes your eyes light up and your stomach say howdy. And I need to know what else it does. What other lyrics there are. And while you look that up, Wendy Molyneux.
Hi.
Hello, you have been just furiously untangling a necklace, but it's untangled.
I just untangled it at the exact moment that we started, and that was really exciting for me. This necklace has been tangled for a week.
Can we see the necklace? Patreon.com/Allison Rosen is where you can go to see the video. I mean, in addition to plenty of other perks, which I will mention. But if you're dying to see the now untangled necklace, I would direct you to patreon.com.
Is anything more exciting than a lady untangling a necklace?
No.
What it is, it has all my kids' initials on it.
Oh, I love that.
So I actually hate not wearing it. I wear it all the time, like habitually. I only take it off at night. So it was really bothering me that I didn't have it on.
Had it tangled while it was off your person?
I obviously laid it out poorly at night, or some sort of elf or something, or a curse had occurred.
An elf?
Got tangled.
You think maybe
elf? Not an elf. Yeah,
I also heard elf.
Looking for cats.
You could have an elf at any time in your house and not know about it because he's not on TV anymore. He could be anywhere.
That's right. He could be just sneaking in tangling necklaces.
Yeah, he eats your cat, he tangles your necklace, he goes back to space.
I would also like to say hello and welcome to my husband Daniel. 3 weeks in a row now of you back on the show. This is the first time, though, you've adjusted your Zoom background so it looks like you're at the beach.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the waves.
I drove to the beach, honey.
And the palm tree and the fact
what
that
a
your
nice day.
microphone disappears when you take your hand off of it.
Whenever I go to the beach, I start to clip out like this. It's just natural.
That's so
Normal.
relaxed.
It's a really great hair product too, because the tree leaves blow, but your hair stays perfectly put. That's really impressive.
Yeah, you got a hair helmet happening.
I just feel like you look cool as hell, Daniel.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sign up for
Gosh.
Patreon to see Daniel at the beach.
That's right. A necklace and Daniel's hair helmet.
Oh my
If you
God.
ever wondered-
Can you imagine?
If you ever wondered what Lyle Lovett looks like at the beach,
We're looking at
subscribe.
And you don't have his beach calendar
it. Right.
that he puts out every year.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't admit that I do.
No, Lyle Lovett does. Oh, you have one too.
I have his.
Oh, you have his. I thought you were saying you also do one every year.
No, Lyle and I exchange beach calendars every year.
Right,
Oh, like
but,
for Christmas?
Yeah,
but he doesn't
Oh,
want to
that's
admit it.
nice. What
Yep.
a nice tradition.
he's a sweetheart.
I
Was
honestly
your-
think he is. I'm counting on it.
I have one from a few years ago. I remember the theme was "You Know You Quants It," and I don't know if that one was beach themed though. It felt like you were by a series of
Quants.
lakes.
Hmm. Yeah, he's always confused. He has a syndrome where he confuses beaches for lakes. It's called Lovett syndrome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
very
right. He
rare.
gets beaches and lakes mixed up. I remember reading that in his autobiography.
Anyone who
You're going to
pays any
love
attention.
it. His autobiography was really
Yeah.
good, buddy.
And you know
biography.
you quants it was in Daniel's calendar or in Lyle's calendar?
I remember it from Daniels, and I think he did lakes, but
Yeah.
it's been a while.
Maybe
I
you
haven't-
have Lovett syndrome.
That could be. I do
Yeah.
find myself oftentimes like by a creek or something like, are we at the beach? Because I
Wait.
see, anytime dirt goes to water, I feel like this.
True.
This is a beach.
Could be a
correct?
beach.
I was taught that this was a beach. Now, is it the ocean if I can see land on the other side?
Right.
That's where you get confused.
yeah.
45% of
bay.
people have Levitt syndrome.
Yeah. But how would you know you have it? You just think it's normal.
Yeah,
No one
someone
thinks
has
to get
point it out
tested.
to you.
That means you have it. And Tony Thaxton, hello and welcome to the show. What have you found?
Hello. Okay, so that is correct. I don't see the Pandowdy mentioned in the Jambalaya song,
Okay.
but I do see it in Shoofly Pie and Apple Pandowdy.
Yes. That is what I was thinking of. You know what? All this was just, it still served as a plug for One Mississippi where you can see our own David Huntsberger.
Oh,
And also,
yeah.
it was a
Hell
show
yeah.
that I enjoyed
Steals the show.
quite.
Deserved his own spinoff.
To me, it
Was
wasn't
robbed.
a Huntsberger tour de force. I barely remember anything else.
That was a fun day of filming. I'll call it filming. I feel like that's what the pros say. And I felt like it went okay. And then I remember watching the episode, and it really felt like they went out of their way to cut like around me. They're like doing all these wide shots, and then like a lot of my dialogue, they're just on Tig. And I was like, I'm not good at this. And so, if you've got the stuff, they focus on you a lot. And I don't know what the opposite of having it is, but that seemed like that cut really tried to do that, or like embodied that to me. Maybe I was just being sensitive, but it did feel like, oh,
Well,
that's a wide shot. They're lingering on that wide shot.
we do have a television professional among us, but I'm going to answer instead. Yes, I too would read it that way. However, the show was like she's the star, so it would
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
sense that focusing on her emotions as you're talking might be a choice and not have to do with you just stinking up the place and lacking it.
I mean, you can take it either way. I've chosen to take it the they thought I stink way, but I mean, I wasn't offended by it. And I liked the way it turned out. There were a couple lines that they didn't use where I know on the day Tig and I were like, oh, that was fun, but what are you gonna do?
Wendy, you are the TV professional I just mentioned, and your necklace is untangled. Does Dave stink?
No.
Never
Also,
seen
I work
that.
in animation,
Yeah, it's different.
so I don't know what they do with the cameras and shit, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do this a little bit, and I usually settle it. But, you know, if the camera goes below and you can see my knees bouncing, it doesn't go great. Or when I'm standing, I'm kind of always on my tiptoes, just kind of
Bouncing?
just
I've
a
heard
little
that.
bit, you know, like my acting coach, God rest him, hasn't been around for, I don't know, 25 years, told me that was fine. He said, you know, hot feet, they can edit that out.
Don't
And
you?
so-
Am I wrong to remember that you insist on dressing as a clown no matter what the character is?
It's clown elements. So it's not full clown regalia.
But it's always the ruffle.
I'll
the
always
neck
have a ruffle.
Like an old-fashioned clown neck ruffle.
Absolutely.
And the full paint, full makeup.
Some version of full paint. So if they need me to look like this, it would be full clown paint, but just hints of like you'd see the big circles, you'd see, you know. And I dictate what kind of day my character is going to have by not like a deep red but you would just see a hint of an upside down frown wide here, but like just slightly different from my natural skin tone.
And isn't this why you were fired from Manchester by the Sea? Because you were supposed to play like an old friend of Casey Affleck's that he meets at a bar to talk about his dead children, and you showed up day of dressed as a clown and refused to go into wardrobe and makeup.
We're having a very emotional back and forth. I'm at the bar, and I know it's weird that he
Right.
still drinks, even though that caused this horrific accident. And I'm kind
Just
of playing the voice of
spoilers
reason.
left and right, even though I'm never going to see that movie.
It doesn't
okay.
spoil anything, but it is
Oh.
really frustrating. Like, how much do I like this character? He didn't really seem to learn anything. And so I'm playing this character that's at the bar, and I'm like Wendy.
But it
mentioned,
was
an
not
old friend.
supposed to be a clown, if I'm
What happened is I was in subtle clown paraphernalia.
the
and
ruffle isn't subtle though.
I break through to him and I say, you need to get out of here. Get back on the track of life. You're wasting away in here. This is what caused everything.
But then didn't you go,
No, I shot him. I gave him a little whoop from the lapel flower. And he was just leaning in to like break down on my chest as that was happening. I didn't pick it up. I was sold on doing the lapel flower thing. So that was on me. And then I was fired quickly. It was not like,
Right.
let's go back to one. It was like, get him out of here. And that hurt.
I'll take my business elsewhere.
Yeah, they did that. And clown method is not popular, but it's really effective.
I mean, for something to even be considered to be popular, it has to go past one person. Like to say not popular when it's literally just you.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm trying to get it off the
just
ground.
Such a crazy understatement. I don't even
This
know
is
what to say. I might log off.
so.
You might log off. Give me a chance. Watch the reel. Watch me
I've
do
seen
my
the reel
thing.
so many times. Every morning I wake up and the reel is on my front porch again with a please consider posted on it.
Yeah.
And then you have a billboard in downtown
But I set
Glendale
the
that I see
reel-
all the time with please consider with you dressed as a clown. Not listing a show or anything. You just want everyone to just consider it.
If they come over, I open up my shirt and I have a website on my chest. But I want them to I don't want them to just buzz by and go, what is it? And I yell it. I'll feel like I'm just wasting my breath. They come
And
look.
do you still have the second clown face painted on your chest, which is another disturbing element of the character?
I'm not painted. I mean, that's tattooed there.
Oh, Jesus.
And so that's my acting coach. That's Phil. It's an homage. It's a sensitive thing for me. He's a treasure. He invented clown method.
Dave, you're
Yeah?
trying to get. So there were two who did clown method, but one passed
One's
away.
dead.
Yeah.
Right.
And so now you're the sole keeper of the method, but you're trying to get it off the ground. Daniel has gotten. Daniel, you're no longer at the beach. What happened?
I forgot to wear sunscreen, so I had to come inside.
Daniel has popularized the quants method,
Yeah.
which there's quants method for hanging a sweater, quants method for engaging your toes when you walk. What are the other
Quants
quants?
walks.
What are the other quants
you engage your
methods?
toes. You engage your toes at all times, honey.
Whatever.
Go ahead.
So I was going to, where I was headed with this was, Daniel, what are the other quants methods and how did you get quants method off the ground? However, I'm going to put a pin in that for a moment because I must tell you guys what's going on. There's a few things going on. So Owen, our 2-year-old, has not gone poop in 8 days.
Whoa.
Yeah. Before that, it had been 7 days. So I gave him a little bit of Miralax at the direction of a doctor, and then he went. And then now he went that was 8 days ago. He went. And then now it's been another 8 days and he's like still not going despite the Miralax. But the more constipated he gets, the less constipated I get. I feel like I must be like inhaling the Miralax or something. It's very strange. Or he and I have like Freaky Friday'd our butts.
Brew chat.
Have I overshared? Have I said too much?
No, I'm wondering, have you tried prune juice?
He will not take prunes.
You could put prune juice in a smoothie.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Hide it.
Yeah.
They sniff it out. You got to hide it really well.
Elliot likes prunes. Like he'll ask, he doesn't need them. He's a regular little guy, but he enjoys the taste of them. He likes to eat them. Owen, if he can detect just a tiny, a scintilla of prune, he says no. All right. So hide it in a smoothie is what you're saying.
Could try.
Yes.
I mean, at this point, we've loaded him up with so many things. It's like
we're running a wartime MASH unit, but just for poop in our kitchen. I mean, there's like tea with stool softener in it. There's bottles with mirror. I mean, just don't drink anything from our kitchen.
when he finally blows, it's going to be like those guys that have those things in the ocean or in a lake where you shoot water and you levitate up. Have you ever seen this?
Yeah.
Is he in pain?
He's going to be like floating around the house, like.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's like a butt jetpack. He doesn't seem to be in pain. He seems.
I don't know about that.
I think he's in pain. So he grabbed my hand. He went poopy, and grabbed my hand and pulled me to his room.
That was me, honey.
Pulled me to his room, and then he wanted to climb up on the bed, and then somehow on the bed he like. What I don't know, he flopped around and like shook his head and somehow I think held it or made the urge to go away. I think he had the urge. I think that was painful. And then somehow it passed while he was on the bed. And I was a party to it all, trying to tell him, no, go, let it happen.
Have you stopped milk?
So that is a bit of a problem. Although today he has not had any, but he does, even though, look, I know, if you're going to judge me, that's fine. I'm already judging myself. He still takes bottles.
No, my kid still takes bottles. No, I've had a kid who took bottles till 4.
Oh, really? Okay, that makes me feel better.
If you're indicating I would judge you, definitely not. Some of your listeners, sure.
No,
maybe
I expected some of my listeners would, but knowing that you had a kid who took bottles till 4, I feel like we'll keep them at bay. Because
we switched them to water, but it was like he liked the shape of a bottle and drinking out of a bottle at night. So like, fuck it. It's not hurting anybody. He doesn't still drink a bottle.
Right.
Get off my nutsack, listeners. Just kidding. I love you. I love you. I'm kidding.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
This isn't that kind of podcast.
Get off my nutsack, too.
What do you think? This is Joe Rogan?
Yeah, it's Joe Rogan. I just want to go on Joe Rogan and tell it like it is. No, I love the listeners. No one's going to get on my nutsack about a kid drinking water out of a bottle at age 4. That's just life.
What would they be judging you about, just out of curiosity? What are like the parameters that you're skirting or something like that? What are the norms that you're bending?
They say to stop bottle. Well, what Wendy's doing though, water in a bottle, like I don't think anyone has a problem with that. It's if you're still giving them formula. It's formula, really. He still takes some formula. And really, you're supposed to stop that and bottles at age 1. Although neither of my kids stopped at 1.
My kid's 20 months old. He drinks his milk out of a bottle all the time. People are fucking insane.
And then, so
They're insane. When you're saying like, what are you going to get judged on? This is how you know that someone is the father of a child and not the mother of a child. No offense, but because it's like mothering culture and like the judgment and stuff, it's just like about literally everything. If you breastfeed, if you don't breastfeed, if you do formula, if you don't do formula, if you hug them to sleep, or if you sleep train, it doesn't matter. There's no right answer. There is someone out. If you have a natural childbirth, if you have it with an epidural, there is someone out there who has a very strong opinion, and they make money off their book that they wrote about it. And it's just like, it's nonstop. It's like, it's crazy. It's wild. It's wild.
Wendy, are you a member of the private Facebook group that I have been talking about nonstop? Okay.
I refuse to be in those groups. 1,000%.
It's so smart of you to do that. I'm not going to go, I've gone into it a lot, but there's just this horrible East Side LA that has a specific name. I'm not offering the name.
I bet I know what group.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. But it is so ridiculous and toxic, and I hate all the women. Are you going to type the name in, and I'll tell you whether it's that one?
But the name might come up on the screen. They could come up on the
chats
screen.
don't come up.
No,
I'm going to text it. I'm texting it.
Okay.
No one can see that.
Okay, perfect. I'm sure you know the one.
I did not mean to hijack this conversation.
That's okay.
It drives me nuts when people care about this stuff. I meant more like, have you stopped milk to try to get him to poop temporarily?
Yes.
Yeah.
One of my kids has a milk. We switched him to oat milk entirely because he was having crazy constipation when we gave him cow's milk, and we had to switch him. Like not because we didn't want him to have cow's milk. He just got so constipated and had painful pooping, and like it was wild. And then when we switched, it got better. So we were like, I guess we're switching.
Yeah.
We should try that, because I had lactose issues when I was little. Maybe he does too.
And oat milk is delicious.
Yeah, it's very sweet.
I found that my youngest really likes it. So,
and then Wendy, I also have a question about, so I wanted to know how old he is. He's 20 months because
20 months, 21 months. Sorry.
21 months. Okay. Yeah. So Owen is, I can't do the months anymore, but I guess he's what is he? 26 months, Daniel? He turned 2 in February. Oh no, it's not that one, Wendy.
Oh, that's the one I've heard about.
Oh, okay.
There's another crazy one?
They're all crazy, Daniel. They are all crazy. I don't know. That's the thing.
The Burbank one's supposed to be normal. Didn't you say that one was normal?
It actually seems pretty normal. Wendy, I will hang on one second.
It's like whenever you get a bunch of bitches in a room, you know what I'm saying?
What podcast are you on? Did you switch?
Wait.
Are you back on Joe Rogan?
I'm trying to make $1 million, honey. God damn it.
So I have noticed that you guys, like, you all went to Descanso Gardens, and your littlest one was not in a stroller, but at least from what I saw, it seems like he sticks with the pack. Does he ever like go off on his own? Because I've been sort of nervous about going on a walk, on a busy street or anything like that with Owen, because I'm afraid he'll dart in a different.
We let him off leash at Descanso.
We did at Descanso. I was inspired.
Owen's the older one, though, right?
No, Owen's a little one.
Owen's the little one. Sorry.
I was inspired.
My brain doesn't work anymore.
That's okay. None of ours do. Daniel, we went to Descanso yesterday. I was inspired by you, Wendy, and it did work, and it was fine. But your guy is even younger than Owen. Does he pretty much just stick? Is it like a pack situation?
Yeah, he kind of sticks with us. He doesn't wander off on his own. He's independent, but we don't have wandering problems. I think he hasn't been that many places. Like Descanso Gardens was our first really, like, literally in a year going anywhere. Yeah. Because it's all outdoors. And even then I was nervous because I had to take them in to like use the bathroom. So I made them put on like a more intense mask to go into the bathroom, because I know COVID will probably be fine if a kid gets it, but I'm also not eager for them to get it.
Right.
You don't want to be that 1 in a million or whatever. So like, I just felt, but also I hadn't really been in a public bathroom in a year. So like just going into a public bathroom felt like you didn't want to breathe. I was like sweating. Yeah. It was like wild.
Yes. I used the bathroom at Descanso.
It's a great bathroom.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's so good.
Gorgeous. Breathtaking. But I mean, I'm vaccinated, so I wasn't even that worried about me. I was like, what if all 4 of my kids get COVID? Like, I'm going to feel like a piece of shit. Like, I know it'll probably be fine, but like, it's hard not to think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the baby tends to follow everybody because he's like, I don't know.
The real follower. Not a real leader.
He wants
type.
to do whatever. But also, I will say having a follower kid is helpful. Like at 18 months, he started when we would go for walks, he would hit his mouth and go, mask, mask.
Aw.
And wanted a mask. So we got like little tiny masks for him to wear when we went on walks and stuff because he wanted to do what the other boys were doing. He didn't understand why he didn't have one on. And so he's been wearing it religiously ever since.
I think there's something
That's adorable.
about having
It is.
It's super cute. I think there's something about having 3 other older, cooler siblings. Like Owen just has Elliot, and he does want to do everything Elliot does, but I think if there were even 2 more of them, that would even reinforce it even more.
It's the whole group.
Right.
For sure. And I know there could be also someone going like, but kids under 2 aren't supposed to wear a mask because they could suffocate. That's like if they're sleeping in a mask. Of course, you don't put a mask. Like this is when we are with him, watching him, we're all actively doing something. So if anyone's tempted to judge for that too, we know we're not letting him sleep in it. It's fine.
So now my task is to not go seek out the group that you mentioned, Wendy, because I have discovered that I am like almost addicted to reading this board now that I personally hate all these women. Except there's some people that you and I actually both know who are in the group and they're fine. But the beating heart of the group is just so obnoxious. And now it's like my own reality show. I can't quit it, but I've got to. Mm-hmm. I've got to. It's just taking up precious brain space.
Yeah, I don't join any of Facebook groups at all because I think there's something about groups where they do tend to disintegrate over time, no matter how healthy they might seem or whatever in internet situations, because I think people do like drama. They're attracted to it, and anonymously being able to say something is, tempting. And so eventually someone gives into temptation, and like, even if you're not supposed to scold each other or something, I think it just happens over time. But I try to use Facebook as little as possible. I haven't completely deleted it, but
I was only on it like
little.
I was only on it every few months. I was like, I would marvel at the fact that it didn't shine bright to me at all, in the same way that Twitter and Instagram, I spend way too much time there, but I had no interest in Facebook. And then I think Daniel told me something like, was it you, Daniel, who said that the studies show that engagement on Facebook is like just much higher than the other ones? I think you might have said that. And then I was like, really, if I'm going to be posting about my show, I should do it there. And then somehow that turned into an excuse for me to become addicted to these horrible ladies. Enough about this, though. Go ahead. What?
Oh, no. It reminded me of, I don't know if you guys had this, like, it feels like it was very specifically 6th grade. And we had a pretty big playground area where at that grade, we were open to like really move around. And it felt like you could play tetherball, but some 6th graders felt like they had outgrown that. And a big thing to do was the girls all dressed the same, but they were always constantly comparing like their type of socks and what type of shorts versus tank top combo. And the boys all dressed the same too, but it wasn't really a point of emphasis. But the groups would be like the boys, someone had an M80 and they were marching over to like show it, like let's go behind the backstop. And you'd see like 10 dudes just walk by, like trying to pretend everything was cool, but also like they're going somewhere. And then the girls would come by because someone had kissed someone and they were going to like talk about it. And they'd go by, and it felt like just all recess was these very determined, but it was always like 10 kind of different people, like 7 or 8 core people, 2 or 3 people just excited to be like, I'm finally in the group. I'm going to figure out this thing. And it was just going across. And my 6th grade to me felt like standing there going like, well, where are they going now? And that feels like what Facebook is. It's just constantly like people like, I found a group. Here's my thing. Guess what? Guess what this asshole did when they parked their car or whatever.
Yes.
I'm not into it.
Yeah.
Yes. And so then it'll be like, look what this asshole did when they parked their car. And then they're like, did you ever consider what the asshole who parked their car that way is going through? And then someone will be like, how can you even think about the car when it is crazy. Wendy, is it true, Wendy Molyneux, that you went out of your way to yell "fuck you" at someone who wasn't wearing a mask and your kids joined in?
No, at the Burbank Mall, there were 3 or 4 men. Men, you're ruining everything again.
Men, hello.
Go ahead, caller. Here's the thing about being in public these days. I'm telling you, the left's crazy. I have my mask out just below my chin for a second to take a sip of coffee, and you're not going to believe what came along. Anyway, go ahead.
They were having an anti-mask protest. So there were 3 to 4 of them, at least 3. There might have been a 4th lingering nearby. And one said the vaccines are dangerous. One person's poster board said. The other said masks are a compliance check.
Oh, boy.
Which I had never even heard that phrase. And then there was a 3rd billboard, but I don't think I took that one in before. My brain just short-circuited it. So I was headed towards the mall. If you've been to the Burbank Mall, which I know you have, you're driving like sort of towards the Five Guys and it dead ends. And I was supposed to go right, but I was like, hell no. I wanted to go. If I went right, I wasn't going to drive by them. And I was like, we're turning left, kids.
They're your Facebook group.
In the car. I had 3 of my kids in the car and I rolled down the window and I flipped them off and I yelled, "Fuck you, assholes," as loud as I could. And immediately my second oldest said, "Fuck you, assholes." And then my baby, the 20-month-old, goes, "Fuck you, asshole," but like in his own version of it, because he heard me do it, and then Jose do it, and it sounded fun. So then he did it, and then they all laughed, and they all just thought it was so funny that I had honked and yelled. And then we got home, and I asked my second oldest, "What did mommy yell at the mall?" And he goes, "Something about bread." And I was like, "Great." So like anyone who wants to judge me for that, they don't remember that you did it.
Right.
You know, they just remember the feeling, and the feeling was pretty fun. I think they were having a good time. It doesn't usually happen in the car.
I went by one of those, and you know how often you see bumper stickers or something where you're like, I really want to interact with this car, but I'm not.
Yes.
They want the attention. I'm just going to move on, but like, maybe I'll give them a look of like, ugh. But this was one of those stupid things where I'm going 30. I'm one of the few cars on there's one guy in particular, like, sadly, he just looked like the whole day had been a bust. There's only like 9 of them there. He's got his flag over his shoulder. He looks to me with like kind of a look of like, maybe I'll get a honk out of this guy. And I just so slowly like reached my hand out and then turned it and flipped him off. That like the whole reach of my arm, he was like just kind of coming up in body language. And then he just flipped me off back, but in the saddest, like, it's been the longest day of this. I'm just
This is like a MAGA guy or an anti-mask guy?
Just one of the collection of like freedom, just kind of this.
Let me die of COVID. I want to put it in my lungs. Why are you making me not die of COVID?
It's like someone that still managed to find a pair of Rustler jeans and some white Avias tennis shoes that are real dirty around where the laces and seams meet. That kind of person, you know, where you're like, who is this? Where's this? What do they do? How are they living in this town? It was that guy. So in itself, a sort of sad human being. And I did feel like the lady in that group of like, I don't know this guy's life, but I've chosen to flip him off in this moment because fuck this behavior. And I don't, you know, a bumper sticker or something is one thing. But when you're gathering, when you're trying to get, like, just get a gauge of, are people into this? Are people supporting me? I want you to know, like, no, we are not. Cut it out. Right. People are, there's over 500,000 people dead. Cut it out.
Yeah.
You fucking idiots.
Yeah. Crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I could not. I was so, my adrenaline was going nuts. Like, I would have gotten out of the car and like physically fought them. I mean, I shouldn't. My kids were in the car. So
guys, we can't let it come to that. You got to.
No, of course not. But I'm just saying, yeah.
I feel that though. There are certain things, and it's always weird because I think of myself as like a pacifist, but there are certain times in my life where I'm like, if someone doesn't hold me back, I don't know what I'm going to do. And now I've never actually done anything. Oh, you know what? One time I was very upset after a haircut where I felt like they cut too much. I think I've shared this story before. So I had a duffel bag.
Fuck you, assholes.
No. I was like, oh, thank you. I love it. And then I went home and I took my duffel bag filled with books and I threw it against the plantation shutters in my bedroom. And I remember like it made a satisfying sound. That's wow. And then when I worked at Time Out in New York, I was so angry about something that I went up.
Stomp your foot?
No, I went up to the wall and I pulled my leg back like I was going to kick the baseboard, and then I rammed it forward and then like stopped it an inch before and then just went boop. Like tapped it. Just go, girl. Yeah. So I too understand rage. Listen, you guys, I want to tell you about something. Update. Owen has pooped.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Owen.
Yes.
Good job.
Tony, could you play something triumphant?
Oh my God.
Yes, he pooped. It was huge and gross.
Oh, that's so great. I don't have to stop giving
Poor
him
guy.
milk.
Yeah.
I wore a really warm sweater for this, and anyone who's on the video is going to see. I'm taking it
I
off.
like your sweater. It's
Sorry.
very fall.
I know, but I'm sweating, so
Yeah.
here it goes.
Okay, so I want to tell you guys about Embark. Dave, you should do this because you don't exactly
Okay.
know what kind of what breeds your dog is, do you?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, you do?
We got gifted a thing. And,
Okay.
Well,
Well,
it was 100% of one type of breed. So we were like, here it comes. Here we go. What do you think? Last thoughts? Just 100%. Like, he's a purebred dog. No one had guessed that. So
I didn't know that.
What kind of dog?
Yeah, what kind of
What?
dog? You're being so secretive.
He's a
Purebred
lab.
what?
He's just a
Oh.
lab, and
Lab.
no one guessed that.
Yeah.
It's just different looking.
Get out. Well, anyway, if you are wondering what kind of beast you have, or even if you know, so Embark is a DNA test for dogs. It's just a cheek swab. It's super easy. We knew that Wendy was Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, and that was confirmed. But the thing about Embark that's so great is they tell you whether there's risk of other genetic diseases, and also you, if you want, can be connected to relatives of your dog. So like I made a bio for Wendy. Initially, her bio was just, I'm fat, but then she lost some weight. So now it said, I'm outspoken or something, some cute dog thing, and a photo of her. But I have talked to people who have relatives of Wendy, and it's so much fun. And I love getting an alert saying there's a new relative of her. While we're
Wendy
in
the dog.
uncertain, what'd you say?
Wendy the dog.
Wendy the dog. I should
That
clarify.
used to be our custom when I was on, that you guys would do me the dignity of saying Wendy the dog.
I'm out of
when you
practice.
spoke of her, and
I feel like
just
we
to
should.
acknowledge that.
What if we did a cheek swab of Wendy the human and sent it in?
That's fine.
They're so on top of it. They would write back with like, this is
It's
not a
human
dog.
you've
It's a
accidentally thought
Right.
was a dog.
While we are in uncertain times, there's one thing that we can be thankful for, and that is the recent pup adoption boom. Shelters are being cleared out, and that means you may not know that much about your new best friend. Embark's Breed and Health Kit is the best way to know your pup, new or old. It's the best way to decode your dog. Developed by PhDs and veterinarians, Embark provides the most accurate breed identification and genetic health results and can identify over 350 breeds, types, and varieties, or in the case of Dave Huntsberger, just one, and screen for over 200 genetic health conditions to help your vet provide the best medical care for your dog. Right now, Embark has an offer on their Breed and Health Kit for our listeners. Go to embarkvet.com now to get free shipping and save $50 off your Embark Breed and Health Kit with promo code BESTFRIEND. Visit Embark, EMBARK, vet.com and use promo code BESTFRIEND to save $50. Today, I also want to tell you guys about Raycon. We are supported by Raycon, whether it's for work or play. A lot of us are going to be on the move again this summer. My advice to you, take your Raycon earbuds with you. I love Raycon earbuds. They're super comfortable. They're super light, great sound, and they are half the price of other premium audio brands. They look great. They feel better. They come in a range of cool colors, customizable gel tips included for a comfortable in-ear fit. And Raycons are built to go wherever you go with quick and seamless Bluetooth pairing and a compact charging case. Also, 24-hour battery life and portability. I like to take them on walks, and they come in like a really just a really cool looking little charging case. Listen up. Raycon's offering 15% off all their products for my listeners. And here's what you've got to do to get it. Go to buyraycon.com/bestfriend. You'll get 15% off your entire Raycon order. And it's such a good deal. You'll want to grab a pair and a spare. That's 15% off at buyraycon.com/bestfriend. Again, that's buyraycon.com/bestfriend. Okay. Tony Thaxton.
Yeah.
Did you get a haircut? Your hair is extra styly today.
I did. Finally went and got one. It was my first one since like September or October, I think.
It looks extra
Yeah,
styled.
finally. Yeah,
Now, I
thank
saw you were polling people to know whether you should let it grow or cut it, and what was the consensus?
It was actually pretty even. It was very close, and so I ended up. I was gonna let it stay a little longer. I just wanted it to be a little more controlled, and so it is longer than it used to be, but it's still much more on the short side though. I was gonna let it go, but yeah, it just wasn't. I don't know. Couldn't find anything longer that I felt like was gonna work.
What I like is that Tony decided that the pandemic was a time to try out a different look. And we're wrapping up the pandemic, you know, God willing, in America, at least at sea, or in California. California rates are down. So California is wrapping up its pandemic, and Tony looks the same. You went back.
Yeah, I mean, I tried some new things, but just I don't know. I will say immediately after the haircut, though, I was like, oh yeah, I feel like it made me feel better immediately. It was weird.
Yeah,
I've never quite had that with a haircut before. Yeah.
I think if I decide to trim my toenails, I'll feel better. It's my
maybe
quiet.
grow them out.
What'd you say?
You could grow them out.
Oh, I am growing them out.
Yeah.
I mean, a few of them I've had to trim because they broke or something. But there's a few that they're holding strong. I mean, it couldn't be more gross. I don't know. It's just a quiet, silent protest I'm having with myself.
Yeah.
Gross.
I think it's nice. Long, luxurious toenails.
That's right.
A lot of people wish they could grow them, you know?
That's right. When I'm having a phone call, I can just tap them. Like, it makes a soothing sound for everyone.
Yeah, it's
And you
almost
guys
sandal season. You want to have a little something to show off down south, you know?
Absolutely. It's people need something new to see, you know.
Yeah.
And you guys have hardwood floors. Bare feet don't sound great on hardwood floors, but that nice little
Tick, tick, tick.
it's great.
That's right.
I always feel like I am very bad at self-care, and I hate even the phrase.
Same.
And a couple of times in my life, I've had a pedicure, and when I have, my nails have inevitably been disgusting. And I've the kind person who's been subjected to me will always say, "Do you want me to cut them?" And I'm like, "What do they think of me? That I'm gonna keep going with this. Like, this isn't what I'm here for." Then I'm like, "Oh no, paint those motherfuckers. Let's take this to the limit." Like, I want those craggy 2-inch long. They're not really 2. They're just like slightly too long.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, I want those craggy things painted red, and I'm gonna head out on the town tonight. See if there are any takers.
They don't want you to go home and have to throw a duffel bag of books against some shutters because they
Feel
trimmed
so
your
upset that
toenails.
They cut my beautiful toenails.
One thing they don't tell you about death is right before you die and kind of in the death process, you get this little checklist you can hit, but no one thinks about it ahead of time, and most people miss it. And you come in and you're like, dang it, I forgot to... You can request things. You're like, oh, I hope I'm 7 feet tall. You can but it's real quick as you're like headed down this slide.
Mm-hmm.
And I managed to get slow growing toenails, and I just can't recommend it enough. So when you die and you're going down the tube and you get your options...
For your
I highly recommend it.
reincarnation. So you're
Right.
saying this is for your reincarnation.
This is from my previous one. I thought ahead to
Right.
this one. You know, in hindsight, could have checked off some other things, but the toenails were a smart one. They're real hard to find on the list. I don't know why I burrowed in that deep, but it's great. I
literally. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ez.
Well, I mean, just how slow are we talking?
like half as fast as my fingernails, which I think is common. I think most people they don't grow at the same rate, but maybe even like a third as much. Like I sometimes feel like I look down and I'm expecting that scene from Dumb and Dumber, like, all right, gang, this has been a while. And then they're just like, we're good. And it's just, it's nice. It's just pleasant.
What I'm imagining, when you go to a sushi restaurant and they give you that piece of paper and you like mark off what kind of rolls you want. Like I'm imagining that's what you're handed before you're reincarnated. What else? What are the other options?
They're different every time. You just, you have to get like really, subconscious, that sort of like hypnosis, where you recall all the way back to your birth, and then they go, take it a step further. And you're like, everyone's menu is a little different, so you're like, if you're expecting stuff, like I'm going to pick a really high, high IQ. And then all of a sudden the list involves just straight like eyelash length. And you're like, I wasn't prepared for these. So it's.
I just picked orange chicken.
But you're not allergic to it, right? Yeah, you get it.
Well, no, I got it, but then that was it.
That's it.
You were hungry at the time. You got to think past. It's like they say, don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry.
Yeah.
Don't choose the qualities that you're going to have in your next life.
Don't get reincarnated when you're hungry.
Don't die. Don't die hungry. Be full all the time, just because it can come at any moment.
That's why they say that.
I do. This will sound extra crazy, but bonkers. That like sometimes I try to be body positive, but let's face it, society does not always make you feel that way. And I will literally think, okay, well, maybe when I was going to come to Earth, they said, like you can be a TV writer, you'll love it. You could be, like you could be a comedy writer, but you will be fat. And that I was like, yeah, fine. And that some like wiser part of me was like, yeah, that's a good trade-off, Wendy. Like, that sounds like an enjoyable life. You'll just be fat. Like, who cares? Like, so when I get down about it, I'll think maybe some better version of me that's more high-minded was like, that's fine. That's the dumb thing to be upset about. And then I'll think that I picked it, and that cheers me up.
I love that. I love that though, because I love that. I love stuff like that. It doesn't sound bonkers to me, but again, I'm the person who's growing out my toenails, so take it with a grain of salt. But
it's also honestly crazy that you think of yourself as fat, but go ahead.
No, I self-identify as fat. Like I'm technically fat. Like I have a high angle on this thing, but I mean, I'm fat. I mean, it's fine. Like I think it's also this thing, like I'm saying, like the body positivity of it all is like, it's okay to embrace the word fat as no different than having like brown hair. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm technically fat. I like, that's okay. Like that's what I mean. Like I'm trying to do that where I'm just like, that's fine. Like, why is that? Who cares? Like, why is that descriptor?
Yeah.
But
so
there are
loaded,
But I love.
Don't you feel though that like this is such a weird scale, and that like there's this woman that I see running sometimes that is, I would classify as like dangerously anorexic. And I wonder if she would in this conversation be like, yeah, me too. I'm also fat. Like,
well, yeah. And that's where I think it's dangerous. Yeah. For me, it's more about embracing what I think would be like, I wear like a size 14 or 16, which I think is doctors and people like that would say, oh, you're fat. No, they say fat. I mean, they say
right. It's both.
I have a doctor I stopped going to because she was so weird about my weight. But I'm just trying to kind of embrace it as like, why is that? Like, why can't I identify as that if that's like the category that society puts my body into? And there's a lot of other women like me that I'm friends with where we all just feel like, fuck it. And there's like, I feel better for younger people now because there is like a body positivity movement and a recognition that like, because I personally, and I know I probably say this too much because I'm trying to like not get made fun of, but like it happens to be true. Like I exercise every single day. I eat really well. Like I know how much I eat because I dieted so hardcore for years. And when it was like, okay, I'm literally starving myself all the time and I'm still a fat person. And if I eat a regular amount, I weigh exactly the same amount as when I'm trying to eat 1,200 calories a day, which approaches a starvation level for someone who's 5'9", that I just finally was like, fuck it. I can't do that anymore in order to like represent. So like, I still eat a number that is much lower than what my body weight should be in calories every day, but I'm fat. And that's like, I think that's the thing is like, people are, I have a friend who's like, but people are fat for different reasons. Some people are like me and their body just wants to be fat and that's fine. But like, we have to start like embracing the idea that that's just like a type of body. It's insane to think that everyone could, because there's no one who tries to lose weight more than fat people. There's no one who can tell you the calorie count of every single food more than someone who is fat. And chances are they have been on a million diets that literally just don't work for their body. It's not that they don't do them correctly. It's that they don't work. And I can attest to that. I'm like the most type A person I know. I've done them. And at a certain age, they stopped working, maybe because I had dieted so much, because I had starved myself. And at a certain point, you just have to be like, well, fuck it. This is my body. And should I not swim? Should I not enjoy my life? Should I hate myself all the time? Now, it doesn't always work. Like I'm saying, those times when I have to be like, I think I chose this before I came to Earth. I would like to have this life, but but I'm also fat, and that's fine. So it's like,
did you ever run that by the doctor? The doctor you hated, like like that philosophical thing of like, I made a deal before I was born.
I think I'll try it next time. Doctors, I like freeze up because they don't believe you, and it's clear on their face that they don't believe you. And they say some pretty shocking things. Like a lot of fat people, my friend she had been pregnant, she had her baby, and she went to the doctor and she was fat. And he was like, you need to lose weight. She had some crazy symptoms. It turned out she had cancer.
Oh my God.
And he told her to lose weight. And it was only because she like kept with it. She was like, no, something else is going on. She went to like 2 or 3 more people. She had like a rare blood cancer. And so it was like, and that was causing the symptoms, not being overweight. So it's like, there's a real problem with fat people avoiding healthcare because they think the doctor is going to only want to talk to them about being fat when they feel like they're sick for a different reason. And also just the shaming. Like I quit my gynecologist because she said that she didn't want to give me a C-section because she didn't want to cut through all my greasy fat.
She said that?
Like, out loud to me.
My God.
They say shocking things. What? And this was right before I gave birth when I was so anxious. And honestly, it's wild. Like I have a really average body size, actually. Like I identify as fat because I think that's healthier for me, but it's a pretty average body size. And for the doctor to say that to me when I'm already so anxious about giving birth is to basically say, I don't feel safe doing your C-section. I didn't wind up having a C-section, but it's wild the things that doctors make free to say to you where you're just like, wow, it doesn't shame people into losing weight. Like I said, I've tried to lose weight 7,000 ways. And I used to be smaller when that would work. And then it just stopped working. Not that I started eating differently. It literally stopped working. My body just started getting bigger. And I was like, what the fuck is happening to my body? But I think it was all those years of like under eating and trying to starve myself under the impression I was fat. I've really taken over this podcast, guys.
No, it's okay though. I mean, it's like,
it's a wild journey.
I relate to everything you're saying. Part of the reason that, there was a number of reasons that I wanted to switch OBs. We moved and I didn't have a great experience with at the first time around. So I wanted to be at a different hospital. But part of it was how she had made me feel about the amount of weight I gained while I was pregnant. And then I, asked to get my records from the hospital, and just because I was like, that whole birth was very, there was meconium. Yeah, it was traumatic. Yeah. It was painful. My epidural didn't work. It was traumatic. He had meconium. I didn't get to hold him. They took him. He had to go to the NICU right away. Yeah. Like they had to do CPR on him. And I was like very confused by what was happening. And so I just thought being able to read it would help me like make sense of what had happened kind of. And in the patient history, it was like, despite seeing a nutritionist, patient has struggled with obesity this pregnancy. And I remembered that when I got there before I was, when I got to the hospital before they started my induction, I hadn't eaten anything that morning. And I knew that once they start the induction, you're not allowed to eat, but before you can. So I mentioned to the nurse that like, I'm a little bit hungry, and she gave me some crackers and like peanut butter, but I was playing it back thinking she had just read about how patient has struggled with obesity. And like, it made me feel just uncomfortable and I wish I didn't judge myself this way, but I felt embarrassed. Like, because she read about, and then like there I am asking for a snack. But like the truth of it was I hadn't eaten anything that day, but still, I don't know. So anyway,
that's what I'm saying. Listen to that wheels within wheels in your mind of like, that's what it makes you like. you cannot just not eat. And it does feel like, I feel like there's a couple of, sorry, let's move on to other topics. I can talk about this all day, but I was going to tell one more story, but
tell your story.
Okay. It's really quick. Is that like after I had such crazy postpartum anxiety after my child was born, and a lot of it was related to food and eating, which I think was from a lifetime of this garbage in my head. And I sort of like was so anxious that I literally couldn't eat. I was struggling. I would have to have like soups and juice and stuff like that to try to, because I was breastfeeding. So breastfeeding is an extra 850 calories a day that your baby is having. And I was postpartum. I was going through anxiety. I was having some weird situations in other parts of my life. And then I told the doctor, I was like, I had lost like 40 pounds within the space of like a month or something really rapid because of this problem I was having. And she's like, I was so anxious that I thought I was going to have to be like institutionalized. And she's like, well, maybe it's good.
Oh my God.
Because of the weight loss.
Wait, this was your OB?
What if I had been, she didn't say some of the things you would think you would ask, which is like, oh, so you're experiencing a mental episode. Do you feel like you would want to harm yourself? I didn't at all. To like, just to close that off. Or do you have bad feelings about the baby? None of that was happening to me, but those are the questions you should be asking.
Yeah.
Someone in my situation who seems mentally distressed, is saying they have postpartum anxiety, has lost 40 pounds in a month. Those are the things you should be saying to them, is like, what's going on here? Are you okay? Instead, she was like, well, maybe it's good.
Oh,
and I was like that. I know, it makes me really upset to think about. And even in the moment, I couldn't really advocate for myself. And now I can sort of in retrospect, but it's like, it's wild. The medical profession doesn't know how to talk to fat people. And I think they cause a lot more problems with people than they should. So, because you're just living your life in your body, doing the best you can. And when you look at like parents and children, they frequently look pretty similar. And not because they're eating exactly the same diet. They move into different houses later in life. Like their bodies are telling that it's the same way your hair color or whatever. It's wild. It's a wild journey.
I like the idea of thinking of it like an agreement you made while Daniel was ordering orange chicken and Dave was focused on his toenails. I like that because it's like connecting with the part of you that has a different perspective on it. But it's just like in this society, it's hard to always hang on to that perspective. So I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Listen, you guys, this podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Is there something interfering with your happiness, or is it preventing you from achieving your goals? BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 48 hours. I know so many people who have done BetterHelp. They've started it recently. They are feeling like they are getting so much out of the experience. Especially right now, it can be hard to find help. BetterHelp is there. And one of the things I think is so great about it is if you don't like the first therapist that you're matched with, you can keep changing, no extra charge, until you get someone where you feel like it's a good match. I mention that because I know that the idea of starting therapy can be daunting. Just that alone is daunting. And then especially right now when, it's virtual, you might be feeling like, but what if it's commitment? I don't know. What if it's not the right person? It is not. It is not something that you need to be anxious about. They will get you to the right person. It is totally okay to want to switch. Join the over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. Our listeners get 10% off the first month of online therapy at BetterHelp.com/bestfriend. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/bestfriend, BetterHelp.com/bestfriend. Okay. So, I had, since we're talking about ways of looking at things and whatnot, I had a little bit of an epiphany, if you will. It's a little bit like silly and woo woo, but maybe not. But I'm going to share it because I think some people will relate. And I'm not proud of this. However, I was thinking back on some people who were like peers of mine career-wise 10 years ago, 12 years ago, who've since gone on to great success, just eclipsed me and then some. And then I was thinking, what happened? What happened? That was supposed to happen for me. I don't know who decided. I decided that was supposed to happen for me. It didn't pan out in that way. And then I was like, man, I missed my window. I mean, again, not proud of these thoughts. They're very navel-gazy and very like me. And also they're not feeling grateful for all the wonderful things that have happened in my life and my career. I own that. Also, I was premenstrual, so that's my excuse. But but anyway, yeah, I was thinking, I guess I just missed my window. I guess I just have to change my goals. And then and it's not a frequent thought, but it's not entirely an infrequent thought for me. This feeling that like there was some opportunity that I somehow squandered or something. But then I had this thought, which was, but I am changing each day and I'm evolving and I'm like working on stuff in therapy, pretty basic stuff that I think that other people maybe figured out a while ago, but that I'm a little bit behind on. Just things like how to like communicate in a direct way. And yeah. And I was thinking, I'm working on this stuff and I'm becoming a better version of myself. And maybe whatever it is that was, could have been holding me back in different situations in the past will sort like, I'm working on those things so that when the right opportunity, if it's right for me, will find me. And I'm continuing to grow. And I think that if something's right for you, you really don't have to push that hard. So I don't know. I just all of a sudden I don't feel like I didn't articulate that well. However, I all of a sudden saw it in a different way. This idea that like a window closed. I don't think that's really how life works.
I January of 2020, I filmed this stand-up production, and since then, obviously there's been a global pandemic that is a big part of it, a number of other things, but like just from the technical side of things, proxies detaching or showing up the wrong resolution or the wrong aspect or frame ratio or size, all these weird things of like, oh, I gotta redo that again, and just it's a computer running for 8 or 10 hours and like, okay, start over again and redo like all this stuff, then sending it off. And the most recent thing was a drive went to New York, got like colored, and then got sent back and was at the wrong size yet again from someone who's like dealing with this dude is like dealing with the most precise, like I make my tea exactly like this, and like Gail Bedecker in Breaking Bad, just very methodical. This type of person, you'd be like, there's an error? How? And it just feels like, I don't know, you just press on, like the timing's not, but when things work well, when like, think of certain people's careers where like everything just went do, 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 do. And at like 22 or 3, at 19, Eddie Murphy's career was just like moving, so many things had to line up for that to happen. And if you haven't interviewed Demorge Brown, I think you should. Do you know him, Wendy? Do you know him?
I don't know who that is.
Tony probably would know.
I know
Demorge,
him like barely, but I know him.
Okay,
very
I
much,
think he's just a genius. He's just so funny. He's involved in all these Channel 101 things. He started like an improv, and he's just got the best mentality about that sort of thing. Of just like everyone's so concerned with how it's going right now. Like, just do the stuff, and then it'll shake out at the end, and people can decide and determine like whether it was good or bad, or what if how you did at it or whatever. And he just goes along, and just everything he does puts so much into it, and he creates these bizarre characters. I feel like everything he does is just great, and I really like his outlook on it as well, because no one knows who he is. He's not a household name, but I just think he's phenomenal.
Oh, look him up.
Have you guys seen the Bee Gees documentary on HBO?
Yeah,
I have.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really great. And this conversation is reminding me of something I thought at the end of that, where you've just gone through their whole career. And, first of all, as a group, they had so many eras. They started out doing ballads when they were young and they were really big, and then suddenly times changed a little bit and no one was interested in them, and then they reinvented themselves, and you see how the creative process went with that, which was really interesting. And then they become huge again, and they record the soundtrack that becomes the biggest selling album of all time at the time, a huge success. And then suddenly disco is out of fashion, and they, as the sort of standard bearers of disco, are just reviled, and they have to reinvent themselves again. And anyway, at the end of the movie, Barry Gibb, who's the last surviving brother of these four brothers,
But the eldest, too.
and the eldest. So, Andy Gibb died young, and then, Mo died of a stroke, I think, and then his brother Robin just died a few years ago, I think, of cancer. And he's in Miami, and I think he was by the ocean at the time, and he's like, I've had all this success. I've had thousands of songs recorded. I have had 20 top number one hits, everything you could possibly want. He goes, and I would happily have had none of it if my brothers were with me right now.
Yeah.
And you're just like, that's it, folks.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have more success than Barry Gibb has had. And he's telling you that that's not it.
Yeah.
Your ego wants that success, and of course it's great to want to have goals and want to achieve things. There's nothing wrong with that, but don't be fooled. Like, having relationships, having meaningful relationships, being a part of people's lives, loving each other, that's the game.
I mean, for
It'll
you,
be the
maybe.
first time I cry on Allison's podcast. It's really sad. It's really moving. It's really true.
Yeah.
I think. Sometimes when I feel like I'm gonna feel down, or like I literally have, like, this also sounds bonkers. Saying way too much bonkers stuff today, but I'll literally have this game where I'll be like, what if I had died and they said you get to go back for one day? You'd think this was the fucking best day. Like, you would be
Daniel does
so
that.
happy.
I do that all the
to
time.
breathe the air and look at a tree and
Mm-hmm.
see your kids. So, like, stop it. Like, it's a way you do. That's so funny. I didn't know anyone else played that game with themselves. That's like, I try to remember, and then I'll forget for a while, and then I'll remember that I'm supposed to do that, and then I do it again, because it helps your mind a lot.
Yeah, the way I frame it for myself is I'll do it often when, like, it's a way to check myself sometimes when the kids are being impossible.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'll be like, okay, they're at their worst right now, and I'm at my worst. And sometimes I'll just go, like, when I'm 80, hopefully I get to be that old, and I'm like sitting there, and someone gave me the opportunity to spend
Go back.
all of my money for just 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'd do it.
Yeah.
Just even at their worst moment, because I can tell you right now, like, I'll look at videos of Elliot even a year ago, and I'm like, fuck, that guy is gone.
Yeah, I miss.
Like, I can't be with
hold
that
on to it. It's
snuggly
like
little
trying
dude.
It's trying to hold on to, like, the beads of, like, beads falling off of stringers. Like, you
Yes.
can't do it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It is.
it helps.
It
does
is
help.
crazy how fast they change. Like, I wouldn't have
So
thought
fast.
I wasn't aware of how different he was just a year ago.
I mean, it's wild.
So I want to say hello and thank you and welcome to my new Patreon listeners. Let me tell you guys, I feel like I'm like on QVC. So Patreon bonus episodes. Daniel and I did a bonus episode this weekend where we answered people's questions. We went in depth on, turns out Daniel dated someone that I had never heard of. He claims.
I saw it on Twitter. On Twitter.
He claims he mentioned her before. He never mentioned her, but it was just casual. And then I'm like, well, was it sexual? And he's like, yeah. Who did I marry?
Honey,
I didn't know that I married someone who was capable of that.
honey, all of my relationships with everyone are sexual. Cool as fuck.
So we went in depth on that, and also we talked about other stuff, which I can't remember right now, but I know it was a very fun episode. So bonus episodes like that. You can watch videos of this. Look at the necklace Wendy untangled and Daniel's beachy background. That's right. There it is. But the Monday episodes, those are on YouTube, youtube.com/AllisonRosen. And Zoom parties and new perk. I've been having so much fun with it. If you're at the confidant and above level, that's the $10 and above level, you can text me and I'll text you back. I've been texting up a storm with people. It's like my favorite new thing to do.
What if I get that one?
You should get it, Wendy.
I might get it.
You could also you can text me without doing it.
But I'm saying, what if I do and then I just fucking go nuts?
That you can.
Constant text. Allison,
It'd be surprising.
Allison, what are you doing? Allison.
That sounds like Daniel and I used to joke about if our dog could text, it would just be like, hi,
Hey,
where are you? Coming home? Hi.
You coming home?
Yeah.
Hey.
So it could be like that. Anyway, patreon.com/Allison Rosen. Oh, and you could submit carbs that I'll call you, maybe with an incorrect song, and you submit questions for my guests. Patreon.com/Allison Rosen. Okay, let's say hello and welcome.
Allison wants to say thank you to a couple of special people out there who signed up to be new patrons. Patreon.com/Allison Rosen.
I love that. Tony, are your drums in your house?
Yes, but those are
Fake drums?
Yeah, I mean they're electronic drums running through some programs to sound real, and but
Neat. Well, I love it. Okay, I would like to say welcome to Laura L. and Dave S. Dave S. signed up for an annual subscription. I should have mentioned, I'm really off my game today. If you sign up for an annual subscription, you get 2 months free. So if you like a deal, go for that one. 12 months for the price of 10. And then Elizabeth B., Sarah M., and Amy M.G. signed up for annual subscriptions. And then Paul E. converted to annual and increased his pledge. So welcome, everyone. I hope you are enjoying all of the Patreon. Let's see here. Let's do just a couple quick Just Me or Everyone's.
Sometimes I ponder on something I have thought or done. Is it just me or everyone?
All right. This is the segment where we read things that people send in that they think are doing. They wonder, is it just them or everyone? If you would like to submit one of yours, tweet it to @ARIYNBF and use the hashtag JMOE for Just Me or Everyone. Here's one from Linda, and I'm wondering what you guys are going to think. You might think she's a monster. I don't know. Linda says, when picking out a greeting card, I rarely take the intended envelope. I'm always looking around for a different colored envelope that matches the card better.
I can't say I've ever done that.
I do that.
If there's anything that really displays, maybe it's American culture, but I'd say it's just humanity and what a pack of hyenas we are. It's the greeting card section, especially at midday Mother's Day. Just looks like a bomb went off in there. People don't have any decency to set them back in the sleeve they came in. I picked this up. I have no idea where I grabbed it. It must go here, halfway in, diagonally. The envelope, I don't have time. I'm just going to throw it. It just becomes chaos. That's just the worst. That's why we have things like The Masked Singer, because of those assholes.
I mean, that's the reason why I would do that, though, is because you look around and you're like, I don't even know if this is the right envelope to begin with.
Right. Yeah. You just line them up. It looks like it's going to fit. Let's get out
chaos.
of here.
I always do. I do have to check because, and I think it's an I have almost a fear of buying a card that won't go into its envelope. I think because I'm claustrophobic and I'm like, oh, I feel bad for that card.
And do you look at it and you're
tiny
like,
envelope.
So every now and again you get one where maybe this is one I made myself, where the flap where they're glued isn't accessible area, and therefore you look at it that should do the trick, and you go to put it in and it's right to the edge of the glue stream. You're like, no! And you have to muscle it down in there.
Yeah.
The worst.
Stressful.
Yeah, I don't routinely do that.
Very stressful. I know stress, guys. That's up there.
I don't routinely do that, but if there is not an envelope with the card, and I want if it's picked over, like Dave's saying, I will just find one that goes, and then I'm out of there. Let's see. Oh, here's one from me. Sometimes when I'm at my desk in the middle of something, I'll keep delaying peeing until I feel like I'm dying. Why do I do this to myself?
No, you delay peeing until you know I'm going to the bathroom. and then you come and say, are you going to be in there long?
No, so I'm a frequent peer, But for some reason, when I'm at my desk, getting up to go to the bathroom just feels like I just want to get this thing done. I just want to get this thing done. So I'll delay it. And then when I need to go, invariably, Poopy Pants over here, which is the name I usually reserve for my children, you are always in there when I need to use it.
Well, yeah.
Always in there.
There's some part of you that delights in rushing my pooping.
By the way,
I feel like you secretly resent my pooping.
No.
You think I'm trying to not be with the family.
Well,
Are you?
I mean,
though? That's what I use
Absolutely.
pooping for.
100%.
Yeah.
It's my only place I can go.
Yeah. I will poop for 33 minutes, only 2 minutes of which we're pooping.
I legit have to poop for 2 hours.
That's different.
It's a medical condition. Don't judge me.
That's too much information.
And I do have to take a bunch of magazines and a TV, and don't judge me again. It's not fair.
the thing is, we have more than one bathroom. So I don't know why we both have to use that one, but I wish you could use a different one, Daniel.
I do. Now, when you're in there, I just go use another bathroom. But when I'm in there, you're married to the bathroom.
My lady accoutrements are in that one.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Tampons.
The closest I had was, especially during the pandemic, with not wanting to use public restrooms or use them as little as possible. I kept doing this thing where I would have an errand or two to need to go run, and I would get 2 minutes into the drive and then to go like, oh, maybe I should have peed before I left. I'm sure I'll be okay. And then every step is just this, like, they should show it like a spy movie with like the level of how it's progressing, because I would just be like, this line at the hardware store is real stressful all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah. I've stopped ever being like, I think I can make it. If I get the thought, I'm just like, I got to find a bathroom.
Smart.
Yeah.
It's not great though. It's inconvenient. Listen, you guys, this has been a very fun episode that had some emotion to it as well. If you enjoyed what you're hearing, please leave us a nice comment on Apple Podcasts. Also, make sure you are, and I was going to say subscribed, but apparently the new term is make sure you're following the podcast. I haven't updated my phone to have this new thing, but apparently that's the new.
That's
like
Apple, right?
Yeah, if you update or upgrade, or I don't know what, Apple Podcasts, it's called Follow now. Anyway, just make sure you're following and subscribed, and tell all your friends. Listen to Childish. I'm on Cameo. I'm on Patreon, which I've already mentioned so many times, and follow me on social media at Allison Rosen on Twitter and Instagram. Dave, where do we find you?
DavidHuntsberger.com. There's a lot of streaming albums and things. If you listen to stand-up comedy online, you can find that all over the place. There's a thing I did called One-Headed Beast that's on like Amazon, a couple other places. And a new one coming soon. And this is... Oh, and these are those tapes. Don't you ever forget it. It's real. It's 100% real. The most recent comment said... I thought this was a joke. I didn't think this podcast existed. So if you're one of those people, just Google. Just see if like that collection of words takes you anywhere. It's real. It's a real podcast.
David and I have a podcast.
It's not a long-running bit. I know it would be a funny thing for us to do. And maybe we'll start a second podcast that is that. We've already given it away.
That's no effort at all to start a podcast that doesn't exist.
Right. It's like people that are in a fake band. But then additionally, this isn't a plug, but going back to the conversation of being thankful, and like it really, I hope everyone has done that throughout this, of just taking stock of like being all together. And if you're alone, appreciating the people that you're missing, reaching out to them, saying hello, long lost friends. But you guys, everyone in here have been so great to us and so helpful. Especially, everyone keeps telling us having a baby in a pandemic is probably not the best thing to do. I don't know. I've never done it any other way, and it's been manageable because you guys are just so thoughtful and kind. So thank you very much. And listen to those tapes. It's on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher. You can find it everywhere. But you guys are nice people, and thank you for helping us out. We really appreciate it.
I want to meet that baby one of these days.
I know. He's so he's great. He's like such a good size right now. It's just like it's a heft.
Wendy, what about you?
I'm on Twitter at Wendy Molyneux. I have a public facing Instagram that I never do anything with at Great North Wendy. I run the show The Great North with my sister Lizzie, and we have aired 9 episodes, and you can catch up on all of those on Hulu as a binge if you want. And then we have only 2 more this season, starting this Sunday, and next Sunday will be the season finale. And then next year we'll be back for a full season, but this is it for this year. So you can also wait, and then all 11 of those will be on Hulu, and you can watch them like a modern person. And what else? These Are Those Tapes is a podcast I have with David Huntsberger, who just also mentioned it. But
if they just
and Bob's Burgers. I'm still on Bob's Burgers. Watch Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
There you go. That's everything.
If they tuned in between when the two of you guys were talking, then they caught it when you mentioned it. So
yeah, exactly. So for people who tuned in and only listened to the last couple minutes of a podcast, that was useful.
Tony, what about you?
I am Twitter and Instagram at
Tony Thaxton.
And my podcast, Bizarre Albums, every Tuesday, which also has a Patreon, patreon.com/Bizarre Albums. And yeah.
And if you send him your bra, he'll hang it on his wall.
Yeah. Why not?
It's a dog harness, but it just looks kind of bra-like. I'm just a joke.
Oh.
I can't even see it.
I see what you're doing. Okay.
Oh.
Oh.
I thought it was like a bit from another show that I didn't hear, that Tony was getting bras.
Well, if you do, he'll put it on the wall. Yeah, that's a guarantee. He'll put it right next to the dog harness.
Yeah, someone sent Tony a bra. You got to now.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to the no robe?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to it?
Yeah, no robe Tony.
Are you still
Never
not wearing
caught
it?
on.
Still no robe.
Never
Still no
caught
robe.
on.
Yeah.
Maybe we could try to
update.
get it off the ground, just like the clown method.
Yeah, you never
You
know.
guys, we have a lot to do this year. All right, this has been so much fun. Thank you guys. I love all of you. Listeners, thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Allison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go. Yeah, Allison Rosen is your new best friend.